Hey, what's up guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends retro carded Loki, which is the female version, which I just can't remember why that's a thing. If memory serves, this is regular Loki, but it's not the same thing that happened in the Disney series. It's something else, like it's actually Loki, but he's a lady this time, so it's a he and a she, and I don't know the situation, and I'm afraid to make any comments given the nature of YouTube these days, so I'm just going to say this is Lady Loki going forward. However, she has huge hands, which is kind of funny. However, there are some good things about this figure, so let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. So this one stands just about 6 1/4 inches to the top of the hair, not including the horns, and that's going to be just about 16 centimeters. And like I said, there's a lot of good stuff here. We'll get into the aesthetic in just a second, but first we have to do a quick question of the day. Do you guys like paint applications like this? Not that there are paint applications, that's always a good thing. I'm asking about the fake scale mail, because it's supposed to be scale mail, like hiccups. Oh my goodness, what kind of adult gets hiccups? I'm getting them from the baby, they're contagious. It's painted on scale mail. Like, it looks cool and it's better than not being there, but I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Is it enough? I think maybe at the $20 price point it's enough, and I think the figure overall looks good enough that it's okay, like when it first came out, but I don't know. It's wearing on me now. It looks a little bit less good than I remember it looking, so let me know how you guys feel about that. Okay, so speaking of aesthetics, there is a fair amount of paint on this figure, the scale mail in particular. It's well applied. Obviously, it's not everywhere, but it's good enough if you're okay with that sort of thing. I like that. The metallic green plastic is very nice. They did paint the straps on the boots here, so that's something. It's better than not painting it. The whole loincloth thing, which I know it's not really, but kind of is, that's painted pretty well. The hair baubles, those are painted well. That's pretty cool. Doesn't appear to be a wash going on in the fur. I think it's just not painted well. It's hard to say. I guess it could be a really bad wash, but it seems to be only on the highlights, so it looks like they dry brushed it with a dingy, dirty brown color and left the low lights the lighter tan, so I don't know what's going on there. It looks pretty bad. But the face is painted well, like overly done with the makeup, but also, I mean, it's clean. The eyes are clean. What's that, eyeshadow, that's clean. Eyebrows, mouth, it's all well done, so paints are good on this figure. Sculpt's overall pretty good. This is the thicker body that they should be using for most figures, so I like that. The sculpt on the cape and the fur is nice also. The hair's fine, so that's okay. Really, the only thing that stands out to me as being not good, other than the questionable scale mill paint job, these giant man hands. I don't remember the hands being huge on the Moonstone body before. I don't know what happened, where that came from. Like, these hands have been used a ton of times and they weren't huge every time, right? Like, we saw them on every Jean Grey figure, and like Moonstone and Satana and like a million other characters. I don't remember them all being huge, but I guess you guys are telling me that Rogue had huge hands and I didn't notice it. That's possible. I mean, every once in a while I miss something, I suppose. But this one definitely stands out as having huge, ginormous hands. So be aware of that. They did paint her fingernails, though. Her, I don't know, not going there. They're painted, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's overall a pretty aesthetically pleasing figure. The hands are definitely questionable. It does come with fist hands, though, so that's okay. We'll talk about that in a second. So you can kind of hide that, but it's not bad. Overall, I'll give the aesthetic rating for a Marvel Legends figure a 9 out of 10. This blows away most other Marvel Legends figures, which are just blank bodies and a new head, so I will give it that. Now, as far as accessories go, we do have the two man hands, open hands, and then we also get the fist hands, but we're going to see, are the fist hands also ridiculously large? It's kind of hard to tell without pegging them in, so we're going to do that live. I just pulled it out of the package, haven't messed with it. They are pretty large. They're not as noticeably large. I think it's fine. Like, it's definitely passable, but notice they didn't paint the little green bits on there. So is that just mine? Did you guys get green paint on yours? Because I didn't get green paint on mine, which is not surprising. So accessory wise, 4 out of 10. One set of hands, and they're questionably sized, and they're also missing paint, so that is no bueno. Now, as far as articulation goes, we are on the fixed ball peg, if memory serves. Yes, fixed ball peg on this body. By the way, the skin tone's painted very nicely on there. Very, very nicely. Surprisingly, too. Like, They don't usually do a good job on the skin tone, but it matches pretty well and it's clean. Anyway, ball peg, so basic articulation. A lot of hair and fur stuff going on, so you're not going to get much out of the head. You'll get enough. You can flex it. It'll be fine. It's reasonable. For the shoulders, let's get the cape out of the way. You could count that as an accessory if you wanted to, but I'm not, because you probably, well, I don't know, the figure probably looks better without it. Yeah, it definitely does. So yeah, we'll count the cape as an accessory, but it's bad, so I'm not changing the rating. So this figure actually has ball hinge shoulders, so that's pretty cool. They go up better than horizontal. That's really nice. Full rotation this way. You do get your bicep swivel, though be careful on a lot of this mold. I don't know if it's every figure that uses this mold. This arm just wants to pop right off. I don't know when that became a thing. It doesn't seem to be an issue on this one as much. One of the jacketed bodies for the male figures has that problem too. But it seems like it's not going to pop off. But when you rotate the shoulder up, when you use the hinge, grab it by the shoulder meat rather than the bicep area. That would be a good idea. But you do get your full rotation. Single jointed elbows still, but it's 90 degrees. And you get additional rotation there, which is potentially useful. No double jointed elbow though. Still, I'll take the bicep swivel. I love that so much. Plus, it gives the figure so much better look when they have appropriately sized shoulders for an athletic shaped person, like a female superhero, villain, anti-hero, whatever this is, male, I don't know. Bigger shoulders makes them look better. Like, you don't need bowling ball shoulders on every lady, of course, but these aren't huge, they're just appropriately muscular, and it looks so much better than the ones without it. It gives the figure so much more shape. Anyway, it looks really nice. So we have our wrist swivel and a hinge. Our diaphragm joint is at the top, just under the breasticles, which is an acceptable way to do it. Generally, you want to put the diaphragm joint right at the bottom of the front of the rib cage and kind of follow it around to the sides a little bit because it's lower on the sides. On a character that's a little bit more well endowed, that's close enough. Right under the boobages is close enough to the rib cage, and it doesn't break the sculpt at all because you're using the boobages as your brake line. So that's a perfectly good way to do it. I don't know why they don't do that more. It's fine. I think this looks best. You can't really tell that it's a broken sculpt other than the paint job, so it doesn't have the best range in the world, but it's definitely enough. Again, this Moonstone body, definitely one that they should have been using a lot more, but they stopped doing it because it has too many curves and bumps, I think. This is a floating piece, so it won't get in the way too much. The hips work really nicely on this body. Look at how high they kick. You don't need a hinge or anything. It kicks just fine, and there's no huge gapping going on, so that's perfectly good. Going out to the side, it's just about 45 degrees. It's probably enough. You could get some more, but that's fine. Thigh swivel is obviously fine. Double jointed knee, no problem there. And then lastly, we have our ankle hinge, which works wonderfully. Forward and back, ankle rocker. This is definitely the best female mold of like the blank molds that they have, and they refuse to use on a regular basis. I'll give the articulation for a female Marvel Legends. I'm going to go 8 out of 10. The bicep swivel is good, the neck's not great, but the hips work really nicely, knees are good, ankles are good. Generally, it works really well. I could probably knock it down to a 7 for those of you who want to nitpick, but I'm not going to pick any nits on this one because they're using the right body. So I'm very pleased with this release overall. Yeah, the giant hands suck. I don't know what happened there. Honestly, I don't think they were giant for every figure that used these. I might have to go back and rewatch my videos. You guys do it too. Go through all of my Marvel Legends reviews. Look for the females who use these hands and comment back if they were big on all of them. I don't think they were, but maybe I just didn't notice it. Either way, good release overall. Actually looks way better without the cape, so we're going to leave it off. I'm going to give it a final rating of 4 Marvel Legends standards, and I do believe this came in at the earlier price point before it shot up. But even at $25, I would say this is just barely acceptable, but at the $20 price point, I want to say it was like $22 at the time, but anyway, I think it's worth it. I'm going to go 8 out of 10. For Marvel Legends standards, this is a good release. Still have to question that price point. Now that Hasbro's like competing with low-end Tamashii Nations almost, it's like, what? How? Not going to happen, but I mean, this is a good one. If you're already invested in the Marvel Legends line and this is one you wanted, I think you should go ahead and get it. You're going to enjoy it. It's pretty well put together. It's going to look good on a shelf, and it poses pretty well too. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have an interesting comment, make sure you comment it because I will pin one comment in every video. Don't just say something nice to me, guys. Like, go ahead and do that if you want to, but that's not necessarily going to get you pinned. I only pin things that are funny or interesting or insightful, things like that. But yeah, nice things are always good too. It doesn't hurt to say something nice to somebody. But yeah, go ahead and do that. And if you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you probably should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.